Okay, hi everybody. I'm Charlotte Siems, Sapphire Ambassador with Plexus Worldwide, and I have a topic for our training tonight that I tried to get out of. It's one of those things that, I thought, oh, people have heard this before. They've heard me talk about it. I even tried to look in some of my books to get some quotes and stuff, and I couldn't find anything. And I thought, well, maybe this is not something I'm supposed to talk about. And it's interesting to me that a lot of times the enemy will try to block us when we have a message, try to talk us out of sharing it. And so what I want to talk about tonight, you may have heard it before, but I think there's a few new twists on it. And this has definitely been on my heart. And the thing is, I'm not going to train tonight on something that I've heard, another Jewel talk about, or I've read in a book. This is something that I have really lived, especially the last few months, and have done it long enough that I'm really seeing the difference. I'm seeing that it's the truth and that it really can change things in your business. And so I know that as ambassadors, especially, when we first get started, or maybe we get to a rank and we kind of feel like we're stuck, like we can't move on, to a new rank, and we really want it. So we start looking for stuff. We start watching Zooms and reading books and asking other ambassadors, what do you do? We try new things. We're always looking for that one new way to word something, or let's try this and that. And don't get me wrong, those things are very good, and we need to do those things. I believe that our team is really benefiting right now from doing three-way calls, three-way Zooms, three-way Facebook chats. That's where you put your upline and you and your new person, whether it's a customer or an ambassador, in a chat or a Zoom or a three-way call, because it gets everybody excited, and it helps your new person meet your upline, and there is tremendous benefits. It'll help you keep that new person interested longer. So that tool is amazing. I also think that I need to go mute everybody again. Okay. We also have a new emphasis on our team on training new ambassadors. We have a fabulous success kit. We're always all learning. And so I'm not saying don't do those things. But what I want to talk to you about tonight is something that can truly affect your business. And I know when I've heard it before, especially in other businesses, reading books on success, I would kind of skip over this chapter because, I know that. Let's get to the good stuff. Let's get to the real stuff that's going to really affect my business, And I'm here to tell you that what I want to talk about tonight is the real stuff. And I think maybe a part of it is if you don't get this, then maybe you're not ready for that success or for that whatever. I think it's kind of a hidden secret. I think it's something that you have to really think about and practice, not just say, yeah, I do that. But it's something that you have to purposefully do. And so when you first find out what I'm going to talk about, you might go, really? But trust me, this is what I'm supposed to talk to you about tonight. And I think you'll get it more as we go forward in this. What I want to talk to you about is gratitude. And maybe one of the reasons this is such a big lesson for me is because there was a long time in my life where I did not practice gratitude. I was not a grateful person. Let's start out by talking about the opposite of gratitude in your business. One of the opposites of gratitude is complaining. And, those of us who went through all the back office changeover, we felt like we had a lot of reason to complain. But you know what? Our team really didn't do that. No one even really posted stuff. I think I deleted one or two posts over that entire 9-month journey. I felt like we all just decided, you know what? We're just going to move forward. I had some private messages that were very complaining, and I didn't answer them back complaining. But that's the opposite of gratitude. Complaining keeps you focused on what's wrong. It keeps you focused on lack, on what's not going right, and you get more of what you focus on. And so it is not helpful. It's the opposite of gratitude. Another thing that is not gratitude is jealousy. Now, It is completely normal and the human condition to look at somebody else and wish you had what they had. And it doesn't mean you don't like the person. It doesn't mean that you wish them bad or that you don't want it for them. But there is that thing that, we feel it in our heart or feel sick at our stomach and we feel jealous because, we want what they have. Jealousy, actually, if we stay in it, I'm not saying that initial reaction, but we can choose what to do. But if we stay there, what we're really saying is I'm not grateful for what I have. And I think that there's only so much, limited out there. And since they got some, I don't get any. And that's a lack attitude. That's a poverty mindset. It's not a gratitude. I hesitate to use the word abundant because that's kind of a new agey or an overused term these days. But, the Bible uses it, so I'll go ahead and use it. It's taking, it keeps you in a small place when you have that attitude. Another thing that is not gratitude is excuses. Someone in the Jewel group this week asked, they wanted to do a training for their team on not making excuses, and they asked for everyone's hard stories. So they wanted Jewels who persevered through at all odds and made it to Emerald or Sapphire or Diamond. They wanted to hear their story. And I posted in there because, for heaven's sakes, I have 12 children. I have 26 family members in my immediate family. And I was just talking about how those grown kids, they get married and they have babies and they are in the hospital and they come over and want to spend the weekend and they want us to go to dinner. I mean, so just because my children are grown doesn't mean like, oh yeah, I got them out of the house and I'll never see them again. That is not how it works. If anything, it's bigger things because, it's marriage and it's having a baby. I mean, it's like big things in their life. So, the things I've persevered through, since I started my Plexus business. I had 6 children still at home when I started Plexus, and I homeschool, and I still homeschool. And, that's a huge commitment. And so I've really endeavored not to make excuses. What happens when we make excuses all the time, when you're always telling us why you don't have time to work the business, why, we're talking so loud about our excuses and why we can't, that we can't hear God. We can't hear Him explaining to us how we can do this. And hang on just a second. I'm on a Zoom, so why don't you take out the trash after I'm off of it, okay? Okay, now close the door. It's okay. I appreciate it, but not right now. Okay, my trash can's right under my desk, so okay. Where was I? I was talking about excuses. Okay. Sometimes it's easy for me. I mean, I'm human. I'm going to get into excuses and start telling myself things of why I can't do this. I have a lot of level 1s, and that's an amazing blessing, but it's also fairly overwhelming sometimes. And I have made excuses to myself thinking, well, I just can't, whatever. And then, it's dawned on me that God is not surprised by my circumstances. He knows every person on my team. He knows my family. He knows my life. He knows my personality, that I'm not a real detailed person and a scheduled person and a make lists and do this each day kind of person. I'm just not. And I don't know if I used to be. And having 12 kids knocked that out of me because it never worked anyway. But I realized that God already knows that. And when I'm so busy making excuses, I am not asking Him, how am I going to do this? And He gives us grace, and He has creative ideas and wisdom and ideas for each one of us. And it's going to look different for every one of us. I know Elizabeth is in a very difficult season of her life, caring for her parents in her home, has a brand new grandbaby. And so what God is going to tell her to do for her business right now is going to look different than it might for mine or for Krista or whoever else is on this call. But we have to ask, but we're not going to ask as long as we are so busy making excuses why we can't. And so I want to encourage you to ask God. I've had to stop what I'm doing several times this week and get out my journal and say, okay, what do I do? Because I have so much going right now in my life. My daughter is 18 years old and we homeschool, and she was going to stay home, another year or at least till December. And she decided 2 weeks ago to go to college. And so this Sunday she's graduating, and we expect at least 50 or 60 people. And, so I'm putting on an event Sunday, and all the things that go with getting a child off to college, the dorm, the paperwork, all those things. The financial part, I'm still working on our income taxes. I got to get those done next week. There's a whole lot more than that I am responsible for right now. And I've had to just quit making excuses and just ask God, okay, what do I do? So ask. Another opposite of gratitude is focusing on lack. Man, this is so easy to do, especially in Plexus. It's really easy to say, well, I'm only gold, or I'm not even silver yet. I can't get anybody to join. And that's the things we think about all the time. And it just sucks the life and the joy out of our business, because all we're thinking about is what we don't have. That is the exact opposite of gratitude. And so I would encourage you to stop saying those things. Don't say, I don't have any rock stars, because you'll get more of that. You'll get more of no rock stars. We move towards what we think about. We create with our words. It is a scriptural principle. And so focusing on that lack is the opposite of gratitude. Another opposite of gratitude is basing our self-worth on our rank, or how we did in a contest, or whether we're going to go to leaders retreat. I don't know what it is about this business. It's one of the best parts of this business and one of the worst parts. It's great to have goals and ranks and points and things to strive for, because we can measure our achievement, but it can also get us so focused on not reaching those goals or not being at a rank that that's what we focus on all the time. And we base our self-worth on it, and we forget that we are an awesome mother, that we make a wonderful home, we're an awesome spouse, that we're a great dad. We just forget all that stuff because, I'm not even a silver in Plexus yet. And we've got to remember that this is a part of our lives. It's not everything, even though it is an important part of my life. I will definitely tell you, Plexus is a huge part of my life for a lot of different reasons, but it is not who I am. It's not who God created me to be. And I'm grateful because it's been a wonderful part of my life, but I have to remember that my self-worth is not based on my rank or how many leaders retreat credits I have. And you know what? When we get out of thinking that way, then it just frees us up. We're like, oh gosh, good. I'm a great person. I'll go share Plexus with people. It doesn't shut us down. It opens us up when we remember who we are as a person. So that's the opposite of gratitude, is to base our self-worth on our rank or a contest. Now let's talk about what gratitude, what it does for us and for our business. For one thing, it affects our emotions. So if we are making sure that we're being grateful, and I'll talk about ways to do that here at the end, but when we are staying in gratitude and constantly pulling ourselves back into gratitude, it affects our emotions. And it opens the way for us to feel excited and to be, to have joy. That gratefulness just makes us feel like, oh, I have all this amazing stuff in my life. And so what's that going to do? That's going to bring more of that in. When other people are around you, they're going to sense that. Can you think of somebody that's very grateful? Especially maybe an older person who's really old and they're really awesome. And it's just that they find the good in everything and they're grateful for everything. And don't you want to be like that? And don't think that other people cannot see that. You may think you can hide it, that you can secretly complain, or, in your bedroom, you can think about, well, I'm only a gold and stuff like that. And that's all you focus on. People can feel that. This could transform your business to be a grateful person and to be grateful for what you have in your business. When we have gratitude, when we practice gratitude, we practice being thankful finding the things that we're grateful for in our lives. It gets us into an open, believing and receiving state. When I am just telling God, thank you so much for all these things. And it can be as small as, I love my favorite kind of pens. I'm grateful for my pens. I'm grateful for air conditioning. Things that you see every day for your, of course, family and all those things, but be grateful for every customer you have, and for every ambassador on your team, for everything you've learned so far in Plexus. Be grateful that you found Plexus. Just all those things. Grateful for what the products are doing for you. Completely changes your focus, and it changes the whole energy that you have and what people feel in you. And it's attractive. It attracts people to you. You're going to attract grateful people. Whereas if you're a complaining, negative kind of person, that's what you're going to attract. It's very interesting to me to be able to observe things in other leaders, and to see their, what they say and the kind of situations they talk about that they deal with. And it's just very interesting to me to see that like attracts like. So whatever kind of person you want to have on your team, then be that person. I want to give you some ideas for ways to get more gratitude into your life. One of them is just awareness. And that's all I'm doing tonight, is just helping you be aware, because we can't change until we know we're not doing something or we're doing something. So observing yourself and realizing when you're going down that road of focusing on lack and negativity and all that stuff and being ungrateful. So being aware is the first step. It can help a lot to have visuals around you. I have a son that's my picture hanger, and he's been gone all summer with his wife, traveling all over the United States, and they got back last night. And they met us at Chick-fil-A late last night. It was so sweet because he wanted to see us. He hadn't seen us all summer, and he wanted me and my husband to meet him, but he's back. So now that he's back, he's going to hang these on my wall. But I want to show you that what I found. This one is Give Thanks with a Grateful Heart, that I found for my office. And I actually have looked at them, but they're just on the floor instead of on my wall. And then this one is Start Each Day with a Grateful Heart. I love these signs because my office has gold and aqua in it. I mean, you don't have to have great big pictures. I'm not saying that. You can put it on your phone screen. Have things written. I have things all over my office wherever I look. I have on my marker board, it says grateful and excited to be diamond. I have a scripture right here taped to my lamp. I have scripture right here. This is an interesting one. And you can find a million scriptures on being thankful and grateful in all things. Let's see what this says. Well, here's a verse in Ephesians 5, and it says, "Let there be no filthiness, nor foolish and sinful talk, nor coarse jesting, which are not fitting or becoming, but instead voice your thankfulness to God." Can't get much more direct than that. Another verse here says, "Let no foul or polluting language, nor evil word, nor unwholesome or worthless talk ever come out of your mouth, but only such speech as is good and beneficial to the spiritual progress of others, as is fitting to the need and the occasion, that it may be a blessing and give grace and God's favor to those who hear it. And you are listening to every word that you think and say." And so right here it's telling you, don't say that stuff. Don't think that stuff. But let it be beneficial to the spirit, your own spiritual progress, the things you say, and gratefulness is part of that. So visuals are a big thing. There's a real cool app. Let me see. It is called Gratitude 365. You probably can't see my phone. Okay. It's called Gratitude 365. There's no space. You can look for it in the App Store. It's brown and it has a little white ribbon thing on it. And that's kind of a cool little app to write. You can type little grateful things. It's like a little diary, and you can add photos and things. And that's kind of a cool thing. I personally would rather write it with my hand. Something different happens with your brain when it goes from your brain to your hand to your paper. You might surprise yourself, things that come out on paper when you journal. But journaling is a big thing. And I have taken to this week, I have had enough overwhelm, temptation, that when I start feeling that way, I have gotten my journal out and I have started making a list of things I'm grateful for, just start writing it down, because it gets me off all my what and back into focus, and then also asking God what I need to do. And he's given me ideas. He is working things out. And I just had to ask. Don't you think he'll do that for your business? He wants you to succeed at this. We have to get out of our own way and let God do what he wants to do in our business, but he's waiting for us to ask. He's a gentleman. He's not going to step in there and take over. We have free will, and he's waiting for us to ask. And that goes along with what I was just going to say, is I am also practicing over the last several months that when I start going down that road of overwhelm and thoughts and, okay, I got to do this, and how can I do this? And it's just all too much, because I'm telling y'all, it is. No human being can do all the stuff I have to do in this month. And I'm going to do it. It's going to be fine. But I'm just saying, I am learning that when that happens, to turn that into gratitude and prayer. And so instead of, the yeah that comes into our mind, start thinking, I am so grateful that my daughter is graduating and that she's so excited about going to college, all that kind of thing, instead of all the stuff I want to focus on about the paper plates and the pretzels and stuff like that, but to focus on the gratitude parts of it. And then this last thing is a really huge thing that I have been practicing very faithfully for about 3 months now. And that is when I first wake up, and also right before I go to sleep. When your consciousness, when you're just about asleep, or when you're first waking up, before you even open my eyes, I start turning it into gratitude. First thing I do is I'm so grateful for this warm bed and these soft covers and air conditioning and, my husband and, just anything I can think of. I think of stuff from the day before. I start thanking God for my team and for my Plexus business, just all those blessings. And what it does is it starts my day out in a completely different way than, okay, now I got to go to the store, and then I'm going to go by the bank, which is what we tend to focus on when we first wake up. Now you may say, okay, that's fine. I'm going to do that, and do it before you go to bed. I have seen a turnaround in my business and in the things that have happened with our team this summer since I started practicing this. I have seen other teams talk about, oh, we're in the summer slowdown and, nothing's happening and we're all discouraged and all stuff. And I'm thinking, what are you talking about? Because we added 244 people to our team last month. We are rocking and rolling. Everybody's excited. There is great stuff going on. And I really believe it has to do with choosing to be grateful 3 months ago when maybe it wasn't happening like that. And I can hardly convey to you how important I think this is. If we were known as the most grateful team in Plexus, that would be such an honor, because it means that we're moving in the right direction. I think it's what God asks us to do. And it frees him up to work when we're grateful for what he's doing. And so that will help get you out of being stuck, being discouraged, if you start choosing to be grateful and looking for stuff in your business and in your life to be grateful about. I truly believe it can make a huge difference. Do your business from a place of rest. Do your Plexus business from a place of gratefulness. And it will attract people to you that are grateful and that are open for blessings. When we are not being grateful, we are unforgiving. When we're unforgiving and bitter and resentful, it's going to shut our business down. So it's just all tied together. All these emotions, all these choices that we make about how we're going to live our life, a lot of it comes back to being grateful. So that's what I had for you tonight. I've shared from my heart. I'm trying hard not to cry through this because I'm so sincere, so convinced that this is a huge key for all of us. Sure, we need to do the 3-way calls and we need to, get with our teams and create connections, and we've got to do that income producing activities, all those things. But if we are so stuck in hating where we are and mad because we're not, at this rank yet and our team isn't doing anything yet, that is such an ungrateful attitude, and it'll keep you stuck. And so that's my admonition. And I know at some points in my life, it has been harder to be grateful. It was almost like, I don't want to be grateful. You want me to be grateful for this circumstance? It was like I wanted to have my pity party and it's like I wanted God to feel sorry for me or something, I guess. But He is never surprised by our circumstances, and it'll help us get through the day. It'll help us do the things we need to do when we stay grateful. And it's a lot more fun. It's a lot more joyful to live grateful. When my mom was dying in February, I spent a lot of time with her that last 2 or 3 weeks, and we didn't have the best relationship. I'll tell you that all my life. But I had an overwhelming sense of gratefulness that last 2 or 3 weeks, because I got to spend a lot of time with her, and she was very kind, and it was very healing. And so instead of, the negative stuff, the sad stuff overwhelming me, I had an overwhelming sense of gratefulness. And so it made that time better for me. And so even in, some hard circumstances, we can find some things to be grateful for. Maybe you're grateful it's not going to be forever. Or maybe, you may have to really get creative to be grateful sometimes. But I just truly believe that it's a real key to your business. It may sound crazy, but I've seen it work. I've seen it work for other people too. And so that's what I wanted to teach on tonight. So anyway, so I hope this has been helpful to you. I guess I'm not going to open it for questions tonight because we've gone a little bit long. But anyway, so I'm really glad all of you were on tonight, and we'll put the recording in the group later tonight. So good night, everybody.